Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So as you can tell by the title of today's video, we will be talking about a very active pattern as that we're heading into as we wrap up November and enter into the new month of December. Where now again, we haven't had much of winter thus far. We've had a few clippers, few snow systems, a few snowstorms, mainly across kind of the either western areas, just on the kind of the slopes of the mountains, or across extreme northern locations. But I think now we're starting to get some systems that will be impacting areas that haven't been impacted yet, and it could be impacting those areas with some, I guess, pretty large snowfall totals, to say the least. So again, I will be kind of focusing on several systems. I kind of want to go over many because there's still a lot of unconfidence regarding that system that I've been talking about for the past few days, and it definitely will be still there, except today I just want to focus kind of on the larger pattern and the snowy pattern that we're most definitely heading into. I do want to say that before I get into this video, if you guys are new to this channel, hello and welcome. Check out the videos, check out the channel, see if you do enjoy this type of content, and then consider subscribing and liking the video. Obviously don't do that just because I told you so. Now, before we do get any further, I also want to say that if you have any comments or concerns, please leave them down below. Let's get into this video. So first off, let's take a look at the Gfs model. This is a pretty good model, and again, we have many different models that we look at, and this is just one of many that jumps around throughout the day, but it comes out 4 times a day, and we'll have to see what information it gives us. So you can see there are several clippers, and this week we'll continue with that trend. However, look, by this upcoming weekend, we do have a system that kind of I guess taps into that moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, and it does so in a pretty significant manner. Right now, this Gfs model has it going pretty far to the north in terms of the snowfall totals, or sorry, the snowfall kind of area, and the rain that stretches pretty far towards the north, indicating a very warm air mass. It does start intensifying and producing very strong winds, and some cold air catches up to that cold front, which again has that potential to turn that over into some snow. But you can see that is not it, that's not the only storm. While yes, it introduces cold air, quite a bit of snow for southern Canada and the northern portions of the United States, and obviously heavy rain where it does fall. We have another system moving into potentially the United States. So look where that rain is occurring. That is across locations that are pretty far toward to the south and southwest. So that is definitely good news for folks that are dealing with drought concerns, drought issues over there, and hopefully that could provide some relief. And we've been kind of seeing this trend with certain models that there looks to be a pretty active pattern for potentially a good portion of the southwestern United States. And look, there's that system, taps into the Gulf of Mexico moisture, boom, through the northeast and southern Canada, right? And obviously the snow system isn't that far to the south, but I'll show you a few ensembles or a few models that definitely do show a scenario further towards the south. And look, again, we're not over. We have another system making its impact on the northwestern and really just the western United States. Sends a pretty large system through southern Canada, not really impacting our viewing or talking area, but look at all that precip. It is impactful, drops a lot of mountain snow, develops into more of a rain system, but again, even after that, we do see another threat for some systems and more precip arriving. So obviously, with this particular model of the Gfs, it isn't too excited with that, I guess, snowfall for the, the majority of the United States. Definitely the west and the northern United States picking up a lot. You can see the northeast, the northern United States, North Dakota, Wisconsin, northern Michigan, and, portions of the kind of Great Lakes picking up a lot. Look at southern Canada. Now that is pretty much a bullseye of very heavy snow. Look at all of this across the west. That is very good news if this were to occur. Look at this here in Nevada, potentially seeing several feet of snow. Obviously snow even as far as just right there near kind of Big Bear Lake, those very southern locations of southern Canada, southern California, that usually pick up snow when it's cold enough. And look at all that rain. Also impacting cities potentially like Los Angeles with several inches of rain according to this model. And it has been consistent. Let me just show you. Right, this one, the one that came out 6 hours before that model run, doesn't show as much for the Southwest, but it shows activity nonetheless. Definitely more than what November has brought, which has been relatively quiet quiet conditions. Look at this one, very significant ones. Now let's take a look at the midnight one from yesterday. Again, a rather active pattern across the United States. And 24 hours ago, this is what this map or this model showed. Now this is more than you can see. It's been consistent. Now obviously this is just a precip, so we can't really see the snow side of this, but we can, and honestly, let's do that. So this was today at noon. You could see a lot more snow here within 6 hours. That's how much it changed. Right now, it's not really showing that snow, but 6 hours ago, it was, and it'll definitely continue changing. Whether or not it will change in the favor of a snowy pattern remains, for the central kind of more southern locations of the United States, well, it remains to be seen. But you can see there's a lot of consistency with a very active and snowy pattern. Again, regarding obviously where the heaviest snow will fall, where those biggest storms will occur, which is kind of the million-dollar question. And you can see that it's been definitely showing itself, that activity in the models. So let's take a look at the one from yesterday or from today at noon and see how it differed from, say, the one I just showed you, which was the newest set of data. Again, we do have those clippers, very warm conditions this week for a lot of folks across the United States. We do see that warming. We do see that little system. Look, there's snow across the northern plains, taps into that cold air, right? And you can see how remarkably similar the 12Z one was to the 18Z with that system. So there is starting to get some consistency with the GFS itself about this particular storm, which is less than 150 hours out. And again, you can see it does develop quite a bit of snow, quite a bit of rain, and it does bring in a lot of cold air, which allows the second one to bring a bit more snow potentially for southern locations. You can see this one does kind of a two double whammy, if you will, two-part storm. And then look, more systems, more rain is on its way, and then another one makes impact across the western United States, right? And it starts kind of forming something, and another one comes in. So I mean, a lot of activity, guys, and a lot of things to keep track of in the next kind of 240, 360 hours. Canadian, this is a pretty good model. It's a different one than the GFS. Look, it shows those clippers, some of them getting pretty nasty across southern Canada. That all stops this weekend when we get that stronger system. You can see the Canadian really waits with that system and doesn't allow it, if you will, to strengthen into a stronger storm up until it reaches, let's go back there, it really occurs quickly. Look, it doesn't get a cold front. It doesn't get any kind of rain on the southern side of it. It does drop quite a bit of snow across Michigan, North Dakota, Minnesota. Let me in fact show you these snowfall amounts from this little guy alone. Here you can see pretty good amounts. Duluth 3 to 4, nothing historic, but definitely an event that is plowable, that will be causing some disturbance of some kind, and you can see it does strengthen in the northeast and for the inner portions of New England, not the coastal areas with this scenario. Those areas, the inland portions, do get quite a bit of snow, and you can see that kind of rages off. And relentlessly, look, as soon as that system leaves, we have another one. Just a few days later, on Tuesday, a large stretched out cold front across the west meets some Pacific air. You can see that first initially brings snow for the upper Midwest, and then boom, a system across the Southwest right here starts forming, and we do see a kind of an increased precip, a bit of rain, a bit of snow, and even as far as you could see Kentucky, Tennessee seeing some flakes, but again, the heaviest staying into kind of the Ohio Valley and potentially even the Northeast getting clipped by that. And then at hour 2:40, which is just really over a week from today, a week and a few days, we have yet another third system developing. So again, a lot of stuff to go over and track. But you can see that's let's take a look at these snowfall accumulations. So that's from the first system, right? You can see the inland portions of Northeast get pretty hammered. So does southern Canada. Okay, now this one does bring a bit of snow further towards the south, and you can see that inland Northeast also gets a pretty good whammy of snow. And look at that across Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, seeing kind of areas seeing pretty good amounts from these two systems if they were to overlap in such a fashion. Now, again, this one also comes out but twice a day, so it changes even within its own kind of model run. You can see the one at midnight today was a bit less conservative, or a bit more, I should say, conservative with those snowfall amounts. How about the one 24 hours ago? You can see it showed a bit more, but mainly towards the north across Michigan. So you can see there are some differences, but again, I wouldn't say anything monumental, and a snowy pattern is still rather supported. And again, these are some of the more tamer solutions with these storms, I would say, from the GFS and Canadian. I looked at some of the ensembles that from the European and from the GFS, and some show just a absolutely nasty system. We're much further towards the south, potentially Illinois, potentially Iowa, Missouri, I would say Kansas, Nebraska, Colorado, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. As far as those states that I mentioned, far south could see some snow. And there are a very few amount of models, but there are a few that show, a classic kind of nor'easter setup with snow all the way down into potentially, North Carolina, West Virginia, Maryland, and whatnot. So, I think that there could be a little bit of everything in the next kind of coming weeks of this very active pattern. Once we get into this again, European model, very good model. You can see we have a little clipper kind of pattern going on, but shouldn't say little, as some of these again will turn into rather powerful storms as they approach off the coast of the northeast. And you can see, boom, there we have that big one, that big system of snow that we have to watch. The European attaches a cold front to it earlier than the Canadian, a bit later than the GFS. Doesn't keep it super strong, but it does drop a lot of snow for, say, Michigan, right, Wisconsin, potentially the Minnesota area, decent, 3 to 5 inches of snow. And then southern Canada with that strengthening snow, with that moisture from the warm sector supporting, this could support easily a foot event of snow across the southern Canadian large metropolitans, including Ottawa, Montreal, Quebec, maybe even Toronto, depending on the track of this system. And you can see that zips off, again, provides more cold air. And in a very similar fashion to the Canadian, it does, the European introduces another system in a pretty similar fashion as well, kind of with that cold front and large storm system. And you can see it starts developing a pretty nasty system that brings, again, look at that snow pretty far towards the south. Now, again, this doesn't mean to Alabama, snow, but Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, Kentucky, and December 8th, it's not unusual for these areas to see snow at this time of the year, but it's definitely the first time it will happen this year, which kind of makes it a bit more special, if you will. And you can see that it glides into the northeast and produces more snow for southern Canada, the inland areas, and potentially the northeast. And we do have yet another system starting to develop at that time frame. Again, guys, even a system like this, the first one, I'm not confident whether or not, it's going to be something like this or what the GFS showed, a much stronger system, but with the rain and snow sticking really that warm sector way into the United States and that snow falling into southern Canada, or something like this where it really hugs the kind of US-Canadian border, or even further towards the south. Some models show snow across Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana with this scenario, and let me tell you that all of those are pretty much as equally as possible, or equally possible at this given time. Let's take a look at the 240-hour look of snow with the European. You can see pretty aggressive with that snow, especially across. Look at that. I mean, that's over potentially 1.5 feet for a lot of these areas from those two systems combined. You could see right there, Chicago, 6 inches, Indianapolis, 10, much of Ohio under almost a foot of snow. Same with a good portion of the northeast, maybe the coastal areas. It's hard to tell at this point. And you can see the northern plains also seeing decent amounts. Again, whether or not the system goes further towards the south into Nebraska, Kansas, further north along the east coast, maybe closer to the coast, that's all details that are still to be sorted out, but I'm just kind of trying to show you this active pattern that we're in. And again, the European, I say 12 hours ago, also showed a active pattern, but look, it was further towards the north into more of southern Canada. Now it's a bit further towards the south, so it's interesting to see that trend. And you can see that, as I go through these model runs, it seems to be that this is kind of the first one that shows a lot of that snow more further towards the south, which a lot of the ensembles of the European, which are 50, I went through around 50 of them, I would say more than half at least support a scenario that shows snow as far, if not further south, than something like this in the next 10 days. I could show you the UK model, United Kingdom meteorological model. I don't know how far out it goes. Okay, 144 hours. So according to this model, I can't show you the surface precipitation kind of hour by hour. It doesn't have that option. What I can do is show you the 6-hour accumulated snowfall, and that gives us kind of an outline of, where the system would be dropping that snow. And again, this isn't total. This is 6-hour intervals. So after 6 hours, it drops snow, and the colors disappear. You can see it snows right there within 6 hours, 2 inches, and then it's gone. So you could see it shows a series of smaller clippers. You could imagine, right, a bit of rain with all of those to the south. And then that system that, all the three models that I've showed you so far, they all show it. The United Kingdom model, it shows that, and it shows it much further towards kind of the west, a lot stronger. If you recall, the other models show it further towards the north and much weaker. This one shows a lot of snow, pretty good amounts. And this may not seem like a lot, but look, 3 inches, 6 hours later, another 3 inches, and then another 3 inches. That's quite a bit of snow, again, amounting to those total accumulated snowfall amounts that are almost a foot of snow, kind of between that 6 to 10 inch range for Minneapolis, Wisconsin, South Dakota. This could shift to the north, south, or end up being a scenario that's more like the Canadian or European, which in this case you could see that the European keeps that system further towards the north, but only that second one brings it further towards the south. And I'm not going to show you the ensembles because I don't have enough time, and that would take a lot of time. But there are models I looked at that I'll show you in tomorrow's video because I know you guys will like that. But there are models that show, swaths of snow, further out into the plains. There's some models that show a system similar to what the European does, but show a lot more snow in this area, like a foot and a half. Some bring snow way down into the southern United States, even some traces into Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. Yes, that would be a pretty ridiculous or insane scenario, but again, it's definitely a possibility at this point. Northern Plains also, some models show a lot of snow here, and then there are a few models that show mainly the snow kind of sticking to just southern Canada. But again, that seems to be a dying trend. As you could see, the Europeans showed that yesterday, but not necessarily today. And I also do want to say that I would say around 75% of models show a good amount of precip in a long range coming into the southwestern and western United States. That, of course, would be a very good thing. They need that snowpack, and yeah, not just one, but several storms. So that would be ideal. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I think that will be pretty much it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something new, and I will catch you all on the next episode. See ya. Bye.